my dog's self-selection.
Hmm.
I'm worried he's got something toxic. Okay, it is a good question. It's a commonly asked question. And the answer is going to probably surprise you, because I'm going to say no. You can't always trust their self-selection. Because they are selecting for natural. How are they selecting? They're selecting a lot through the olfactory system. They recognize the molecular makeup of nature. And some of the smells, excuse me, I'm going to defuzz my camera for a second. There we go. Like, for instance, yes, they can eat, for instance, antifreeze. Yeah. So you think, oh, well, they self-select, but they've just poisoned themselves. That's because it's not natural. So that's on one place I don't trust the self-selection process. The other thing is, if something has been taken far away from its natural state. So, for instance, with a dog, if you have a vegetable oil, a seed oil, one of the most valuable tastes for dogs is fat. They're looking for fats. And especially dogs who may be living on a dry dog food kibble diet, they're desperate for good fat. So if you first come to them with a good hemp seed oil, they're going to go, yes, that's what I have been craving. You know, it's like being really thirsty in a desert. You haven't had water for a long time. You don't want to drink too much water all at once, because it can be harmful, even though it's what you really need. So for dogs and fats, I limit intake. I don't trust how much that they will stop taking before it's too much for them, especially when they're not in balance. It's not going to kill them. It's going to give them a lot of diarrhea. That's messy to deal with. You don't want to have to do that. So, you know, I give a tablespoon at a time or whatever. So that's about limiting self-selection. The other place that I don't trust self-selection is if, for instance, you have a very out of balance. Oh my goodness, it's gone completely out of my head. But if you've got an animal that's really desperate, and it's in a house, let's say it's locked in a house, and it doesn't have any other option to self-select. This is how cats, for instance, eat houseplants and die because they're toxic to them. First of all, it's because they are desperate for some sort of green, for some sort of medication, something. And so they'll go for whatever it is. Like if you, again, we'll go back to dying of thirst. If you were really, really thirsty, you'd go and drink from a puddle that had petrol exhaust in it. You know, that's not going to do you any good, but it's going to stop you feeling, it's going to make you feel like you can survive. So inside a domestic arena, there are certain circumstances where you cannot trust self-selection.
Yeah, what Kirsty wrote is also something I wanted to say. Medication. A lot of medication takes them really far away from self-selection.
But
for instance, steroids, okay, that really kind of busts up the whole system. It wants them, the side effects are over drinking, overeating, over peeing, over pooing. So at some point, they actually really do not care what they're eating or drinking. They just kind of want to shove it in.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you do have to be cautious with medications. Also, the other thing about medications is that they can, like for instance, steroids. When you first go on steroids, they're not feeling anything. They're not feeling the problem. Yeah. I don't want to select anything because I'm feeling fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually blocking the pathways of self-selection, the medication is another place that you shouldn't trust it.
Another side effect of most medication is heartburns or any stomach issues. And then the behavior is to try and calm it down by just intaking whatever, water, stones, sand, tissues, carpets, whatever, just something to kind of shut this fire down. And a lot of times you hear of all kinds of bad stuff that happens to dogs, and people don't realize that the whole problem started because of the medication, because of something was really happening in their digestive system, and they were trying to calm it down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I'm just going to throw this in here because it's something that I'm a bit passionate about. But the vets do not give enough information about how to support the body from the side effects of a medication. So, for instance, if you're taking steroids, then you need to have extra calcium because steroids are bleeding calcium out of the bones. You need to have something to help the digestion because it's blowing out the biome. You can really support being on steroids or on medication if you have some good strategies and can supplement and use the herbs and aromatics.
It's a lot of the work I do in my clinic, because usually I get animals in various conditions, most of them very sick, with a lot of medication. And part of the work I do is how to use herbs with medication, how to take all the side effects down while letting what we want from the medication to work keep working till we find a better way to support the system.
And just to clarify, you guys, the Neomi works alongside vets in a clinic, working with very serious cases many times, because many times by the time people come to the weird acupuncture lady, they've already been really needing help. So that's kind of one of her specialties is the very difficult, complicated cases, supporting them and really making a huge difference to them with the alternative support that she can give with her level of knowledge.